DJ Susie.
There you go. Fantastic. 6:01 and 6:02 here at Radio Free Brooklyn, and which means that you are just about to start listening to Sitting with Gianluca. I am Gianluca. I will be sitting with you till 7 p.m. And sitting with me today is Jim Flynn, author and musician. But today he's going to be author for the time being. He might play a couple of songs later. I'll see if I can twist his arm. But, this time is this weekend. The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival is going to start for the 50th year. So I wanted to, it's a big party in New Orleans. All the great bands fly down to New Orleans, but also all the great local bands in New Orleans strut their stuff and shake their tail feathers around town and at the fairgrounds. And it's really... if you've listened to me before, you know that I am devoted to New Orleans, and New Orleans, all black urban music started in New Orleans. All of it, from jazz to R&B and funk and everything in between. So we all owe it a very special debt. So in the honor, I thought I'd bring Jim Flynn down because he wrote a really wonderful book on street performers in New Orleans. They're all over the place down there. And Jim, a few years ago, went down there and spent a few months just hanging out with street musicians and writing them in their own words. And so he's going to come down and we're both going to talk about, well, he is down and we're both going to talk about New Orleans. I should have you say hello, Jim. I'm doing all the talking. Hello, Jim. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Gianluca? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Thank you for coming down anyway. It's the 50th anniversary of New Orleans Jazz Fest. How about that?
Oh, I wish I were there.
Yeah, me too. You've done it.
Yeah, I was down there for a while, yeah.
Okay, yeah. When was that? So Sidewalk Saints is the name of your book. Let me turn that microphone around. There you go. So Sidewalk Saints.
Yeah, Sidewalk Saints started off, it was originally going to be about the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, and I went around and got some stories of some people who were doing some recovery work down there. But then I kind of realized that the true story in New Orleans was more about... when just beyond Katrina, and I really got interested in talking to some street performers down there.
Yeah.
And hanging out with the brass band scene. I mean, it's one of the most incredible places in the United States where you can go out and go to a second live parade where you have 10-piece brass bands that move around the city, and it has its own dances and it has its own culture. And, you also see a lot of that, what comes from the best brass bands in New Orleans. They learn it on the street. They learn it by playing, in front of an empty case on Jackson Square or hanging out on Bourbon Street. And I wanted to look at that and see what the roots of that really look like.
There's quite a well-known R&B singer called Mark Broussard. He tours quite a lot. And I remember him telling to me something that I'll never forget years ago. He said to me, if you're from Louisiana, you either cook or you play music. And that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I don't understand people go to New Orleans, they don't see any music, and I never did quite understand that.
I don't know how you can go to New Orleans and not see any music. If you're going to be, in the French Quarter, if you're going to be anywhere where, people come to the city, you're going to see people out on the streets.
Yeah.
And you're going to see varying levels of performance ability. Some of the most interesting interviews I did were with, some of the kids who put little tin cans on their shoes and stomp around on Bourbon Street. And there's also, you have traveling train hopper kids who come through and play old hobo music.
Yeah.
You have the people who've been in the city forever doing, their own traditional type of brass band music. And you have lots of blues and lots of, there's a lot of swing music that's going on down there now.
You know, uh, I've noticed in all the times that I've gone down there that in New Orleans, well, first of all, New Orleans is really not part of the United States of America, really. When you're down there, well, certainly pre-Katrina, now it's kind of, the roof's been torn off it and a lot of people are moving there. But before Katrina and in the few years after Katrina, including when you were down there, it really was its own microcosm. The people in New Orleans never particularly left New Orleans, and everyone had their own way of moving and of talking and of doing everything. And one of the things that they did differently than anywhere else in the world is that everything is done outdoors. So you mentioned Second Line, right? And Second Line is a funeral, and in other cultures, funerals and grieving is rather done behind closed doors. The casket's put away and all the family retreat and gather and stay inwards. Well, in New Orleans, everyone is in the street and everyone does a parade when someone passes away, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They say you cry when a baby's born and you celebrate when you go back home.
Yeah. That's the Second Line. You mentioned the Second Line. Everything is done in the street, including playing music. No one actually practices music behind closed doors. As soon as you're older, big enough to pick up a guitar or a snare drum or a trumpet, you're in a parade, right?
Oh, you're going to hear it. I mean, the first time I was in New Orleans, I was wondering what kind of strange recorder music I was hearing, and I followed it for miles and miles and miles, and then finally I got to the Calliope on the steamboat, and that thing is loud. If you're gonna be in New Orleans, you're gonna hear some music, and you better like it. It's gonna be nice if you're into those type of sounds.
You'd better like it because you're not going to hear anything else. I'm going to stick a pin in it for now and just pause and play the patron saint of New Orleans, Professor Long. So when I was saying that all black urban music comes from New Orleans, I wasn't really making it up. There's a corner of Rampart and Dumaine, which is now a laundromat, and that was the first ever recording studio, actually, with the first ever session bands. People talk about Stax Records, and people talk about the LA session people, and but actually in the 40s, what was now a laundromat, that little back room was a recording studio, and that little back room had a session band. This is, I'm going back to like 1946, 7 up to 52 and around there, and these are some of the tunes that came. I'm going to play just a couple, but just to get people in the mood. But this is a patron saint of unofficial patron saint. Well, unofficial unless you're a New Orleanian. And then it's the official patron saint of New Orleans, the great Professor Longhair. This is a track that actually was recorded direct to disc, and it is possibly the New Orleans national anthem. There's a club name after this song. Jazz Fest, that's now it's in 50th year, was originally made to celebrate this man's music. So here is Professor Longhair, the official for New Orleans, patron saint of New Orleans, with the New Orleans national anthem, Tipatina. Let's see if I can get this working. Yeah, here we go. Oh, is that right? Oh, I'm going to start that again. Let's see if I can get that working. Wait, I'm going to backtrack. Check this out, because this is live radio. People that listen to Sitting with Gianluca are very used to this by now. All right, here we go. The patron saint of New Orleans, singing the New Orleanian national anthem, Professor Longhair and Tipatina. Oh, look at that. We have a malfunction in the studio. Not to worry. Let me go to plan B, which would be this. Third time lucky. What'd you say, Jim?
I think we got it, man.
You think we got it?
If worst comes to worst, I can play it on the harp.
Can you really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm tempted to have you say yes. Why didn't you do an intro? You want to do an intro on the harp?
Yeah,
and I'll bring it up, and then we'll fade smoothly like the true professionals that we are. We will fade truly through a... Come on. Oh, yes. Look at that.
No. walla da, tra-ma, tra-la-la. Hey, Lupert, oh, oh, Lupert, girl, you hear me calling you. Well, you're 3 times 7, baby, knows what you wanna do.
Can't put it out. Dream I walk gonna make you shout. I'm going down to get my squaw. We gonna buy a great big car. Me big cheeks, me feel them good. Me gonna do everything me could. Me big chief, me got them trapped. We gonna take them for a ride. My spy boy just went by. My flag boy is full of fire. My old tribe is having fun. We gonna dance till morning come. Me big chief, me got my band. Dozing while riding it from me. Me got papoose. Drink my water, get he blue. Me big team, me feel them good. Me gon' do everything me could.
That is the great, inimitable Dr. John Mac Rebennack. Dr. John. And that's a track called Big Chief. And that originally was by Professor Longhair, of which we just heard beforehand, doing the patron saint of New Orleans, I call him. There's a club in New Orleans called Tipatina. Alan Toussaint, the late Alan Toussaint, who, legendary late Alan Toussaint, maybe the most famous songwriter to come out and producer to come out in New Orleans, used to say that his favorite ever song ever was Tipatina. And he was an acolyte of Professor Longhair, as was Mac Rebennack, who we just heard, Big Chief. That's a Mardi Gras Indian tune. And if you go into Tipatina, the club in uptown New Orleans for a gig, there's a bust of Professor Longhair at the entrance, and everyone touches the top of his head. You've been there, Jim? You've been there,
absolutely,
right? Yeah. You touch the top of Fess's head, and that brings you luck. So the other thing, it's kind of timely, actually, because in the last 48 hours, they discovered, so Professor Longhair, his house burnt down just before Jazz Fest in 1974. So the whole of New Orleans, all the New Orleans music community pulled together, and they threw a fundraising concert for him in a warehouse uptown. And everyone was there. Alan Toussaint, Dr. John played there. The Meters played there. The Wild Magnolias played there. And a whole ton of Earl King played there. And it was to raise money to build Fess's house again, to rebuild Fess's house. And those tapes, it was recorded, and they disappeared. And they just found them, and they're being re-released. Ooh, as a 5 CD box set.
Should be a great show.
It was a great show. So anyway, I'm going off on a humongous tangent. If you just tuned in, you're listening to Gianluca waxing lyrical about New Orleans. And but I have a guest. By the way, the show is sitting with Gianluca. I'm Gianluca. I will be sitting with you till 7 p.m. We're on Radio Free Brooklyn. With me is Jim Flynn, who wrote a book, a really good book, many, many years ago. It's still available. Sidewalk Saints, right?
Sidewalk Saints, yeah. It's what it is. It's a collection of 2 or 3 page first person oral histories with New Orleans street performers. I started collecting them around 2008, and most of the early performers that I interviewed were people who performed on Royal Street with string bands, or some of the traveling kids. To get into the New Orleans brass band scene and really talk to some of the hot brass bands, I had to earn my stripes a little bit. One of the most prominent street brass bands, TBC Brass Band. I remember it was a year that it took me to interview him from the time that I actually first started talking to him. And it happened, I was able to interview them because I was living in a warehouse where they had a bunch of donated musical instruments. And I was invited to live there by Peter Spring of the Stephen Spring Foundation. And I got to live inside this warehouse with donated musical instruments. And I was able to invite brass bands to my house to practice. And it was great. I mean, there was no way that I wasn't going to be able to make a connection with the bands, with those type of resources. And when I first started talking to To Be Continued Brass Band, they were 19, 20 years old, and now they're in their early 30s and doing a lot of gigs around New Orleans. You can catch them at Celebration Hall. They have shows there. I believe it's every Thursday. I've been to New Orleans and seen them, and it's just the most amazing party that you can see with a 10-piece brass band. There's nothing else in the world that sounds like a New Orleans 10-piece band.
So why were they so cagey about having you?
I think there's a lot of times where people have come down to New Orleans from New York, snatched up a whole bunch of New Orleans culture, and the next thing you know, it's a #1 music hit, and nobody's getting paid for their art. So there's a wariness about that. There's a wariness about people who want to exploit New Orleans culture just for a financial gain and be gone.
Oh, so you're not referring only to TCB Brass Band. You're referring to all the street musicians.
Yeah,
were a bit wary
I think the more established that a musician was, and the more that they were entrenched in New Orleans culture, they were kind of dismissive of just I'm a 6'5" white dude coming down from New York with a tape recorder, and that's not always your friend.
Oh, right, yeah. And, Whitey comes into town for a few months, records a lot of cool stuff, runs back up to the Northeast, makes $1 million out of a book, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So they wanted to be sure that I was there with committed purposes. And I was glad that the first person in TBC brass band that I was going to talk to is that I actually had the chance to talk to was Brandon Franklin. He played the saxophone for them, and he showed up at the warehouse practice. Unbeknownst to him, the other people in the band had canceled the practice, so it was just me and Brandon sitting around a warehouse with a bunch of instruments. And he was a very curious guy, and he actually had me sit down on the piano, and I showed him some things that I'd been working on. And he was a very good saxophone player, but he was curious to learn about what I was doing. And I asked him if I could interview him, and he said of course. And I talked to him for 2 hours about what it was like growing up in New Orleans and finding his way into the brass band culture. And he was very conflicted with it. He had his dad was a police officer. Oh, and I didn't find this out till later. But I'm glad that I have that experience talking to Brandon and writing his story down, because 2 years after that, he was shot and he was killed on Mother's Day in front of the mother of his son's house. And it was very tragic. And, it was, as far as, blows to the New Orleans music community, he was working with Wilbur Rollins. Wow. As a band teacher. Uh-huh. And, for Brandon's funeral, they took all the high school brass bands out and everybody played for it. And it was, that was something that he wanted. And it was, it's hard to underestimate or overestimate the loss of potential, from Brandon being gone. He was just he was a brass band saxophonist, and he was down with the nittiest grittiest hip hop, but he loved Kenny G's vibrato, and he wasn't afraid to say so. He was always open to jamming with other people. Brandon would bring in, he was bringing in one of my friends was a doctor at the hospital down there, and he would come out and jam with Brandon on saxophone. He was always bringing violinists and all sorts of different influences in on it. But TBC brass band is still rolling.
Oh, we should play something. Oh, so there's something. If you go to the sidewalks, what is it? Sidewalksaints.com.
Yeah, sidewalksaints.com. I was lucky enough to have some of the performers who were included in the book contribute one track to an online album. You can go to sidewalksaints.com and you can download a track from, I think it's like 10 different street performers there. And it's a great collection of music from that era, and you're not going to be disappointed if you check it out. The song is called A Bungo. A Bungo. And it's off TBC's first album.
All right, let's have it. There you go. The TBC Brass Band here at Sitting with Gianluca here at Radio Free Brooklyn. And that is from a sidewalksaints.com, which is where you can order the book from my guest who's sitting with me today here at Sitting with Gianluca, Jim Flynn. Sidewalk Saints, which is a collection of, how would you describe it?
It's a photo book about New Orleans street performers.
All right.
I spent about 3 years interviewing people and taking pictures and asking them how they, about their philosophy towards music and their approach towards their art and their ideas about the city of New Orleans. And it's interesting to see the story of the city told by people who aren't necessarily in the spotlight. There's a real strong sense of community in New Orleans that kind of shies away from being embodied by the superstar persona. There's lots of musicians in New Orleans who are well known only to musicians and are absolutely essential to the scene there. And it's like people do it because they love it in New Orleans.
Well, no one actually got to New Orleans and told musicians that they were artists. One of the things that I always find extremely funny in New Orleans is that there's no backstages in New Orleans. Like even in the big-ish places, like Tipitina's, which I don't know, holds, 1,200 people, 1,500. There's actually no backstage. Like the musicians, who are pretty well known, just sort of like hanging out. And you go to the Howling Wolf and the main act, they're sort of hanging out.
Oh yeah. I ran into Alan Toussaint on the streets a couple times, listening to the brass bands. Was actually to get a quick interview off Dr. John. He was passing through the piano warehouse that I lived in. He was actually hanging out with one of the sculptors who worked there. And your accent. If you live in New Orleans for any time, you're gonna talk to everybody.
There's
really not a hierarchy there. It's just you just get used to seeing. If you're at the grocery store and you see Dr. John, it's not like a great big deal. Or if you see
no, it's not a great big. But the other thing that I just find very, very funny is that even when they in the one time when they are actually kind of a superstar, which is when they're actually playing a gig in front of people that are paying a fair amount of money to see them in a big-ish place like, I don't know, the Howling Wolf or Tipitina's, which, what would you say that holds? 1,200? Am I right about that? 900, 1,200. So it's that sort of size. And, but there's no backstage. So they're just sort of hanging out. And I remember once I was, Ivan Neville was headlining at the Howling, and it was packed, right? But there's no backstage. He was just on the street, and I was on the street talking to him. And some woman came up and asked him for tickets. He said, well, what's playing tonight? And can I get a ticket? And Ivan Neville said, no, I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm playing. I thought it was lovely. It was a sold out show. So there's sort of something like music is not really an artistly pursuit. It's just sort of like meat and potatoes. You just sort of do
It's
it.
great as music journalists because there's no place for them to hide from you. You're gonna get your interview.
Yes, indeed. There is no place to hide. But the other thing about Sidewalk Saints is that you chose not to you chose not to put yourself into it or do any explanation.
Yeah, all the stories are told in first person through the words of the person that I interviewed. I did have my own experience going to New Orleans and living with cool people and, meeting lots of radical journalists and playing music too with other people. But this definitely wasn't a book that was about me. And, I was able to meet so many amazing musicians that it seemed like it would be a little bit of an intrusion to put my own little folksy forays into it.
Yeah, but you even elected. No, I mean, I don't mean to write about yourself in it, but even to put it in to sort of maybe the history of New Orleans or explaining the neighborhoods. You just let the musicians tell their stories. Some of them are very there's a lot of. Some of them have a bit of redemption, right? I remember there was one.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. What's that?
One of my favorite stories of someone that I interviewed playing on the streets was a woman named Big Mama Sunshine. And Big Mama, she's in her late 70s, and she had a little Yamaha keyboard that she would bring down in front of the Rouses. I believe it's a different supermarket now, but on Royal Street. in St. Louis. She would come out there and she would wear Southern church lady clothes, and she was from Dry County in the Panhandle of Florida.
Oh.
And she had grown up with a very, very abusive upbringing. And music was something that allowed her to move out into the world and tell her story and share her joy with the world.
So she ran away and got to New Orleans.
Living in Florida, she was a hairdresser for many years, and she loved that. And it was a dry county, so she would be the center of entertainment. And she played mostly church music. And coming to New Orleans and playing on the street liberated her to play all those songs that she had heard and she had practiced, but hadn't really had a space for.
Hey, wasn't there a story of? And now I forgot the instrument. I want to say trombone player, but he was was he not talking about how he might have been in prison if he hadn't been saved by his horn, right? Is that ringing a bell? Am I getting
Keith
that right?
Wolf Anderson?
Okay, we'll go.
He was definitely one of the early players who played with Rebirth Brass Band, and he had come from Chicago and moved to New Orleans, and playing the horn was something that allowed him to do things other than just be on the street without much opportunities.
Oh, right.
And he actually was very, very good at being on the street and very good at making money playing trombone on the street.
Yes, you got to be hard. Well, in New Orleans, there's a super high bar too, so you got to be really hard on the hustle, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. To be able to go out on the streets of New Orleans and make $100, you have to be a very good performer. And to go out there with just a horn.
Yeah. Oh, he was just a horn by himself.
Just with a trombone.
He didn't have anyone backing him.
Keith is he'll play anything you want. Mm-hmm. If you say that you want to hear the theme song to the Dukes of Hazzards, he'll do it. If you say that you want to hear New York, or whatever you want to hear, he'll do it. He's out there to please the tourists, and he loves doing it. And he's very good at it.
If you've just tuned in, by the way, wondered what these two people are talking about, you are about half-ish of a way through sitting with Gianluca here at RadioFreeBrooklyn.com. I'm Gianluca. I'm here with you till 7 p.m. And sitting with me is Jim Flynn, who author and musician, but in this capacity is author of Sidewalk Saints, which is a wonderful book about New Orleans street performers from New Orleans and not from New Orleans. And I should also say that Radio Free Brooklyn is a community station, and being a community station, that means what? That means we're bloody broke. It absolutely means we're broke, and we depend on support by and from listeners by you. It's lovely that you're listening, and it's great, but we need shrapnel. If you have any spare shrapnel, drop it in a hat. That would be really cool. On the RadioFreeBrooklyn.com website, there is any number of ways that you can donate and help us out. Our lights do flicker. We're a community station, which means we're also teaching kids to do this, to talk on the radio and become media literate and all that. Any money you put in, by the way, I always get these up. How do you say that, Jim? 501c3POK? What's that? Tax deductible thingy.
I think it's the R2D2 637-3409.
There you go. It's 501c, I think is what it's called. So you get your money back. And there's any number of ways. I'm going to shake Jim down before he leaves and try and steal a couple of quarters off him. He's an author and a musician, so I probably won't get much. But anyway, we should play something right now that I've... we can either play something from your book, or you want to play something, or... I don't know. It's up to you. Well, you are invited back, so you can... I'm going to leave it up to you. Do you want to play something yourself, or do you want to play something from New Orleans street musician?
Why don't we listen to Big Mama Sunshine?
Oh, yeah. You've got her. Let's do that.
This is actually a track that I recorded myself.
Okay. Oh, all right. Nice.
Yeah, Big Mama had never recorded any music because she was worried that people would manipulate her. So I was living with I was visiting New Orleans and staying in my friend Danny's house up in the 7th Ward. And I was able to convince Big Mama to get into a cab with her little Casio recorder. And I recorded this on 2 tracks in a shotgun apartment on my friend Danny's bedroom.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, Danny. Thanks for thanks for hanging out in the living room. And my friend my friend Brent, who's on tour with Jeff Lewis, mixed it. So it's actually got like a full music.
Oh, look at that. Oh, there she is. Yeah, lovely. Big Mama Sunshine. And what's this? Jambalaya. Oh, like that. That Jambalaya, like the actual song. I know this one. All right, here we go. Big Mama Sunshine.
Buggy songs, honey. Yes, sir. Grab up that canoe, cause we're going to that boggy bayou way down in the swampy lands of Louisiana. Goodbye, Joe. Me gotta go to the bayou. Me gotta go up on that powder, go to the bayou. My evangelist sweetest one, me up my son of a dog, gonna have great fun right here on the bayou. Whoopie, yeah, yo, grab that canoe up, cause here we go to that boggy bayou. Let's go. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, I feel it come up. But then, come see a Jeremy. Pick it down, feel that old fruit jar, me got you. Son of a gun, gonna have big fun right here on the bayou. Yes, sir. Why, that place is a buzzing. I tell you, those kinfolks come by the dozen. Don't just in style, go hog wild and big game. Son of a gun, gonna have fun in the bayou. Whoopie-tie-ya, yo. Yeah, get that horn going, cause we're going right on back to that boggy bayou. Let's go. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, feel it come up. But now I'm gonna say a Jeremy. Pick it down, feel that fruit turning big yellow. Son of a gun, gonna have great fun right here on the bayou. Whoopie-dee-dee-dee-yo, whoopie-dee-dee-dee-yo, right there in the bayou, in the bayou, in the bayou.
Oh, yes. Oh, that was fantastic. My goodness. That was, that was Big Mama Sunshine there. Jambalaya, the classic Louisiana song. And that was recorded by my guest here at Sitting with Gianluca, my guest, Jim Flynn. Yeah, nice going. It sounds really good.
Yeah, it was great to have a chance to sit down with Big Mama, and she knocked out about 10 songs, and it was all just off this little Casio. And I actually had access to a piano, and I asked her if she wanted to record on a regular piano, and she said, "Oh no, I could never record on a piano," because she loved the sounds on her Casio. She loved she could turn it into an electric piano. It was just like the best thing for her. It was an immediate improvement. This is a woman who had played traditional pianos for 50 years.
Is she still alive, do you think? Do you think she's still alive?
I haven't been living in New Orleans for a while, so I don't know exactly what's up with Big Mama these days.
If you want to see a picture of Big Mama Sunshine, you can go to Jim Flynn's website, sidewalksaints.com. You can also order the book, which is really good. So anyway, there's a...
Do you know who wrote the introduction to the book?
I should actually fess up to that. In the interest of full disclosure, yours truly wrote the introduction of the book. It's bloody good introduction, isn't it, Jim? What is the introduction like, Jim?
It was great. I have some people who bought the book and just said that the introduction was just the best part of it.
The best part of it, right? Yeah, they didn't even get to page 3, did they?
Yeah, if you walk around New Orleans, you actually find lots of copies of the books with just the introduction torn out and the rest of the book just sitting on Royal Street.
Absolutely. I have seen just the introduction framed in the Museum of Modern Art here in Manhattan. I have seen.
It is quite spectacular.
Absolutely spectacular. All right. Well, we've got about 15 or so minutes left. You got your harp. Should we give the phone? Let's. You
Definitely,
are also a musician. I have outed you as
do a little live music here. I know that this is a Brooklyn public internet radio station, and like the stakes are high, and this could be
they are.
This could make or break me, but in keeping with the New Orleans theme, I'm going to play a song that I wrote when I was living in New Orleans.
All right,
and it kind of makes me a little nostalgic for it.
Good.
If I could just go back to old New Orleans in the summertime and see you once again, to reminisce as friends, to stroll along the old canal, to be with you right here and now. But it's only memories, 'cause New York City's my disease. And when I took off for the bright lights, I left my heart in paradise indeed. And so you found another love, and I can only say I'm happy for you, girl. I hope he knows you're fine, like uptown Creole wine. I hope he loves you, girl. If I could just go back to old New Orleans in the summertime and here on Royal Street, the city sing itself to sleep, then I would sing along, and maybe you'd come strolling along. But for now, I'll keep rolling on.
That turned me into a nice guy momentarily there, Jim. I almost feel a nice guy.
That's good. There's still beauty in the world, man. Hold on to it. Hold on to it whenever it comes to you,
Now I'll go back to being a total spanner in a few minutes. Don't worry. But anyway, that was by my guest, Jim Flynn, here at Sitting with Gianluca. It is about, 10 minutes to 7. And I should say, if you want to get in touch with me, yours truly, I'm around on Instagram, Sitting with GT. And if you want to send me an email, I'll reply to all the emails, sittingwith@radiofreebrooklyn.org. If you want to get hold of Jim Flynn's book, sidewalksaints.com. The book is called Sidewalk Saints. If you want to get hold of his book, just to read the introduction, which I hear is brilliant, you can do that at Sidewalk Saints. And, and like that. Anyway, I have to say, I know I'm goofing around because I did the book, but I did the intro, but I am joking around. It is a super, New Orleans history has not really, people have started going there a lot post-Katrina. And, but it never really had a big shake. Historically, like not a whole lot have been written about New Orleans, sort of between the cracks, the sort of musical street side of New Orleans. You might actually be the only person that's written about street musicians in New Orleans. Do you think? Do you have any idea? It's an unfair question to ask because it might.
It's a great question. I spent a lot of time in the New Orleans Public Library, and there are some accounts written of, see, the scene being on Bourbon Street and Royal Street is relatively new. It used to be on, what was it, Beale Street, right?
That's Memphis.
No, not Beale Street. What is the other one? Basin Street. It used to be on Basin Street.
Oh, yeah. You're talking in the 20s and in the jazz era. Yeah.
In the jazz area, it was very, and they had something called spasm bands.
Uh-huh.
And their whole idea was that they were very, it was much of a performance piece, and they played with tremendous amount of energy. It sounds like, I wish there's no recordings that exist of them, but it sounds like pretty punk rock.
Oh, yeah.
The spasm bands of the day.
Oh, interesting. What are spasm bands? Why spasm bands? What are spasm bands?
They played, well, a lot of the instruments that created jazz were left over from the Civil War bands.
Okay.
And so they would get together and play these instruments, sometimes in a joking manner, not like in a classical manner, not in a very serious manner. And the whole idea was to, sometimes they would play them very loud and get crowds, and they would be integrated dancing with it. I'm sure it was fantastic. It's street performance is not anything that's new.
No. It's not anything that's new. Well, certainly no, it's not anything that's new. Been around since the beginning of time. But New Orleans street musician is very, very just New Orleans music is very different. Well, I said at the beginning, but actually I got the words wrong. I said all black urban music comes from New Orleans. I should have said all black urban music has its roots from New Orleans, because obviously house music and hip hop and stuff comes from different parts of the states. But the roots of any black urban music comes really from New Orleans, either from jazz or R&B or funk or, the Meters or any of those guys, or just the African drumming that was going on at Congo Square. Because New Orleans was the only place where the African population was allowed to play drums on Sundays, right? So hence all those cool, funky drum patterns that they all do down there that no one else.
The rhythms are amazing. Yeah, it's a bunch of cultures down there that just came together in the sweetest spot and made the sweetest music.
Yeah, most definitely. Oh, good. We got 3 minutes. Well, Teens Take the Mic is on in a little bit, so we're going to have to wind it down. We can, let me see. There is something that I might have to play. Okay, 3 minutes 17. No, that's good. Perfect timing, because this is smooth live radio. So anyway, my guest has been Jim Flynn. Anyway, thank you, Jim. This is very, very cool. By the way, do you have any gigs coming up? You play a bunch of instruments.
I play the harp at various different nursing homes in the Rockaways.
All right.
You can catch me sometimes in Tompkins Square Park.
All right. Oh, busking. Yeah, it's busking season coming up now. Now I'm outing you as a street musician. So
it's fun. It's a good time.
I'm going to start winding down. If you want to get hold of Jim Flynn's book, Sidewalk Saints, you go on to sidewalksaints.com. Teens Take the Mic is on in just a minute, or just 6 minutes, and Sam is probably going to get here any minute or two now. I will say, if you want to get in touch with me, it's sitting with at radiofreebrooklyn.org. I reply to all emails and play all requests. And I also, Instagram is sitting with GT. I should also say, if you want more of me, I will be filling in for Dr. Lisa tomorrow at 2 p.m. The show is Dr. Lisa Gives a Shit. And I will be giving a shit tomorrow because Dr. Lisa couldn't make it. I'm going to be having a band called Gift Shop in. Well, I'm going to be having the singer and the songwriter from Gift Shop. They're a Queens all indie punky band who are really bloody good. So join me if you feel like it, 2 to 3 p.m. here at radiofreebrooklyn.com. I will be Dr. Lisa for that hour, and I'm going to sign out, with a couple of songs, but the first one from Gift Shop. This is the band that I'm going to be talking to tomorrow. So let me try and get this up. Let's see if this works. Oh, and thank you for listening. Honestly, I mean that.
You and all your shitty friends think you're It's a hard line, can't escape. Try to turn around, try to walk away. It's a hard line, can't escape. Try to turn around, try to walk away. We fight the same, we talk the same, and everything is just a game. We laugh the same, we cry the same, we stay up till we feel insane. We drink the same, we smoke the same, we steal your toy to cause you pain. We are the same, we have no shame. We're not the same. You and all your shitty friends think you're starting all the trends. Well, the rest of us just don't buy it. Well, the rest of us just don't buy it. Are you hollow and just fake? Are you no give and I'll take? Well, the rest of us just don't buy in. No, the rest of us just don't buy in. It's a hive mind, can't escape. Try to turn around, try to walk away. It's a hive mind, can't escape. Try to turn around, try to walk away. We fight the same, we talk the same, and everything is just a game. We laugh the same, we cry the same, we stay up till we feel insane. We drink the same, we smoke the same, we steal your boy to cause you pain. We are the same, we have no shame. We're not the same. We're the same, we're 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 the same.
Come on, baby, let the good time roll. Come on, baby, let me thrill your soul. Come on, baby, let the good time roll. Roll all night long. Come on, baby, yes, this is it. This is something I just can't miss. Come on, baby, let the good time roll. Roll all night long.
Come on, baby, while the thrill is on. Come on, baby, let's have some fun. Come on, baby, let the good time roll. Roll all night long. Come on, baby, just close the door. Come on, baby, let's rock some more. Come on, baby, let the good time roll. Roll all night long. Feels so good when you're home.
Come on, baby, rock me all night long. Come on, baby, let the good time roll. Come on, baby, let me thrill your soul. Come on, baby, let the good time roll.